Why your recovery nutrition sucks. Of today's live session, and it's one of the biggest mistakes I see triathletes make with their nutrition is not doing a very good job of their recovery. And it's a really easy fix. You just need to understand a couple of things. Like you need to understand, one, the components of what it's meant to be made up of. And two, you also need to understand what the right building blocks are for you when it comes to recovery nutrition as well. Hello to everyone joining on Insta. We've got Sport Menus and Belinda Archer. How you going? Alrighty, and I've got Facebook over here as well. So just FYI, if I'm looking in a couple of different directions, it's because there's two screens going on. All right, so a couple of things that people really suck at with recovery nutrition, what I call, failures, can't speak anymore. So most often people don't have any plan for their recovery nutrition, which is really disappointing because it's one of the key things you'll need to understand and get right for you if you want to become a supercharged triathlete. That's really important. Hey, Anita, how you going? So not having anything planned, and it's really important that you do have something planned and you're organized, because there's a certain sort of window of opportunity for our recovery nutrition that we need to tick on most occasions. And so you need to be organized with this. And it's the first topic that we're going to tackle as part of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy is our recovery nutrition, because you need to get it right, and you need to get it right sooner rather than later. Hey, so no plan. And particularly after racing, I see people have absolutely, hang on, we just paused. I might turn my Wi-Fi off for a second. It's just reconnecting. There we go. We're back. I just turned my Wi-Fi off. That might help a little bit. I'm pretty far away from the Wi-Fi signal here. No plan after a race where you've probably done your hardest and biggest and most stressful on the body type session of your week or your month is your race, and you have no plan for your recovery. Like, hands up if that is you. Most people have nothing planned at all. You just hang around at the finish line. You might have a bit of sports drink, a few, pieces of fruit. There's bananas and oranges and stuff typically, but that's about it. And then you muck around and you take some photos and you go and get your bike, and then you dick around trying to figure out which cafe you want to go to for a feed. And then you have to wait for your meal to be delivered to you on your plate. And that can be hours after you've finished your race. And so because you haven't got anything planned, your recovery can be super, super delayed in that racing situation. So, hey, Ali, Miss Mullis. Hello from Wisconsin, USA. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to the lives. Racing recovery is what I'm talking about. Going off track already getting sidetracked. Can you tell it's the end of launch week? The old brain is starting to get a little bit rusty. So what I want you to do is actually have a plan for your recovery after racing, because that's the most important session out of your whole week that you need to do a really good job of your recovery for. The other thing that people, if they don't have a plan, is that layer of organization around that. And part of that is maybe just not knowing what you actually need. When you come inside the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, I'm going to teach you exactly what you need for you, because your recovery building blocks are very individual. And I would also suggest that it's quite individual for triathlon compared to other sports. So say if you are used to going to the gym or just running or something like that, then your recovery for those types of exercises alone would be different and look different to if you're doing a triathlon program. And I think that's really important to understand, because if you're new to the sport, you're probably just doing what you were always doing, and that may not necessarily be okay or right, and that will rear its ugly head later on down the track. You might get injured, you might keep getting lots of niggly soft tissue things. And, the other end of the spectrum is having some bone stress injury type stuff happen if, recovery is not right for you and what activity you're doing. So you need a bit of planning and organization for your recovery. That's first and foremost, because most people don't have any plan. And I guess you also then need to understand what are the right building blocks for you, for your recovery, so that you're ticking off the right boxes. because you can prevent really horrendous DOMs if you do a better job with your recovery nutrition. Has anyone kind of experienced that, like really sore, stingy muscles for days after events or hard training sessions? Part of that can be dampened a little bit with your nutrition sometimes. So if you're getting really horrendous DOMs all the time, then maybe something is missing from your recovery nutrition, or it's not quite right, like in terms of timing. I'd have a look at those sorts of things if you're finding that you're getting really, really sore after training sessions. If you're new to something, it's going to hurt. You know, if you haven't done the gym for ages and then you go and lift weights, you're going to be pretty sore. Same as triathlon sort of training. If you haven't done a hilly ride for ages and then you go and smash yourself up hill repeats, then you're probably going to be a bit sore. But I'm talking about like DOMs that happens all the time across a lot of sessions, and it can be preventable or minimized is probably a better word in some instances when we're looking at putting the right building blocks in for our nutrition. Hey, Amelia and Claudia Taylor and Jamie, so many people on Insta. How you guys going? So as part of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, we are ticking off recovery first. It's the very first masterclass we go through because it's one of the biggest areas that you need to get right quickly. Because I think what you do around training, so before and after your sessions, gives you the best bang for your buck out of your session. And if you can understand what you do in terms of fueling up for certain sessions, depending on if they're long and hard or short and easy, same as recovery, like you want to recover differently for different types of sessions as well. So having an understanding of that first is, I think, one of the key elements to becoming a supercharged triathlete. And I'm going to teach you that really early on as part of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, because I think that is super important. And Nick, who joined me on the live this morning, one of the things that she wasn't doing was doing a good job of her recovery nutrition. And she was just feeling absolutely wrecked and fatigued and tired, and she couldn't put double session days into her calendar because she was feeling so wrecked and fatigued. Now that she's been doing a good job of her recovery for a couple of months, she's able to do those double session days again. And as she builds towards Mooloolaba Olympic distance in 2 months now, a bit less than 2 months actually, that is a good thing for her. So she's able to absorb more training load because she's got the right nutritional foundations around her training sessions. So that's pretty cool for her. Hey, IBS dietitian, what are you doing on my live? All right, so they are, I guess, some of the failings of people is complete lack of organization and planning and not having the right framework for what your recovery nutrition should be, because it is individual and you need to understand exactly what boxes you need to tick for you. Okay, so you might be doing some sort of recovery nutrition, but it may not be enough or it may be too much. It's very individual, and we want to make sure that you understand exactly what you need to do for you. So there are 4 R's for recovery. There's plenty more things that you can do for recovery. Like I'm thinking things like sleep and rest off the top of my head and stretching. But there's probably 4 nutritional R's for recovery that I'll teach you as part of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy. And it's understanding why we need to do each of these 4 components and then how much you actually need for you, because it is individual. So I've got a complete worksheet to calculate your specific requirements and a load of examples of different recovery meals to tick the right boxes for you. All right, because what I really want for you is to know that. I want you to have a plan that gives you exactly what you need to repair your sore muscles and refuel your fuel tank, to rehydrate properly. And that's going to help give you so much more energy to back up and go again the next day. And also have confidence in your plan that you can do that. Know that you're actually eating the right thing for you to not fall into a heap by the time Friday comes around, because that's pretty common for people to experience that. Hey, Kelsey. All right, so I think Nick's probably a pretty good example of that. And if you experience like really bad DOMs all the time, hopefully that helps getting the right recovery nutrition pathways. And it also helps you to kind of relax your immune system a little bit. Training is a stress, right? It is like obviously good for us, but it is a stress on the body. And so we just need to sometimes let that relax a little bit by putting the right nutritional components in there. Because if we don't do that chronically over long term, if we don't have the right building blocks and enough energy available, then we can put ourselves into low energy availability. And that is for both males and females. It's not just females. It often gets talked about with females because losing a menstrual cycle is a pretty visible sign that things aren't working, but it happens for males as well. And it's not necessarily visible, like a female might lose their monthly cycle, but for men, you do affect your testosterone levels. And you can easily just check that with your GP getting your bloods done and just checking that your testosterone is within normal range and it's not low. Because energy availability is a spectrum. It's like a continuum of you have loads of energy available and you're good to like you've got nothing available. And there's a lot of stuff in between there. Sort of further down the poor end of the spectrum, we've got stress injuries and no menstrual cycle and doing damage to our bones long term too, like osteoporosis, which you may not necessarily know about until you have a DEXA and check your bone mineral density, or you check your bloods and things aren't looking right there. So it's not something that you can kind of see and feel on a day-to-day basis, which is kind of this, not scary, but it's kind of the hard part, is because you're doing, like if you're in low energy availability, even for just a couple of days, you're still doing that damage to your body's processes, systems and processes, and affecting your menstrual cycle and your hormones and your bone remodeling after only just a couple of days. So you may still have a regular menstrual cycle as a female and your testosterone might still be okay as a male, but there might be certain days where you are not putting the body in enough energy availability. I know that's probably more of a complicated term, but you don't have enough energy on certain days to run your body's just basic processes, let alone fuel training. So recovery nutrition is a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to energy availability. And it's generally one of the first things I tackle with somebody that I have has suspicion that they are in low energy availability, or, you know, they definitely are and they've seen their sports physician and it's been diagnosed. So recovery nutrition is something that you need to make sure you get right for you, because there's so many negative implications if it's not right. And, you know, really important that you're ticking the right boxes for you. And hey, if you're doing a good job of your recovery already, that is awesome. But so commonly I see athletes, probably, you know, 80, 90% of triathletes that I see, and other athletes as well, don't do a very good job of their recovery nutrition. It is, you know, delayed. It doesn't have the right building blocks. Particularly mums, I'm going to throw you under the bus here. You kind of run around doing everything for everyone else and don't feed yourselves. Or, you know, you make yourself, say, a smoothie and then the kids want some, and so you lose half your breakfast. You know, it's busy. So it's time to be selfish in that recovery window, I would say, so that you are still getting everything that you need for you when you need it. All right, now I'm going to jump off. I can hear some pretty serious screaming going on in the background. Hopefully you can't hear that. But tomorrow and Sunday, I'm still going live at 12 o'clock. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to lean up and still fuel training. So trying to drop body fat and still have energy to survive triathlon training. It's, one of the most common questions I get is how to actually do that. And it is a mad skill, definitely being able to do that, because, most people want to lose a little bit of body fat and are cutting back their food and, you know, falling into a heap at the end of the week because they've underdone it. And, you know, they're still not losing body fat. So definitely a skill. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow at 12. And then tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock Brisbane time, Kelsey, one of our WA athletes, is joining me for an Insta Live, and just to give you a bit of a peek behind the scenes of, you know, her experience as part of the program so far. So that's pretty exciting to talk to Kels. And then on Sunday at midday, I'm going to show you behind the scenes of the program. So I'm going to share my screen and show you what it looks like on the inside. Now, I can only do that on Facebook. So if you want to see that, I will go live on Insta at the same time, but if you do want to see my screen, you'll have to jump onto Facebook. So I'll schedule that so you can see it on the Dietitian Approved page, and I'll also put it on our Dietitian Approved Crew Facebook group if you want to just, you know, click on that at the time. that we're going to jump on and do that. So you can see my screen and see what it looks like in there. Because it's one of the like things you're like, what am I buying here? Like, what am I actually getting? I'm going to show you behind the scenes of what it looks like when you log into the program. And then doors close at 6 o'clock on Monday night. So I'll go live again on Monday. And, you know, any of those sessions are your opportunity to grab me or ask me questions if you have any questions about the program. Or if you're a secret squirrel, you can also DM me. I will answer messages on all platforms this week. Email, Insta DM, Facebook DM. Hit me up on whichever social media platform is your favorite. All right, that's it for why your recovery nutrition sucks. Thanks for watching live, those people that are here. And hey, if you're watching the replay and have any questions, please drop me a comment in the comment box below and I'll catch that up later. All right, enjoy the rest of your Friday, guys, and happy weekend. I'll see you tomorrow at 12. Okay, bye.